All right, so this is a great question. It's time for me to re-release my list of everything I've written. So first, an explanation. I have two pen names, Elle May and Eden Emery. Elle May is my paranormal pen name, and it's also the pen name that I just normally go by. It's not my real name, but please call me Elle. Eden Emery is all contemporary. Now, both of them are darkish in nature. There are a few exceptions to this rule, of course, but most of my stuff is always going to be dark and angsty and spicy. So for Elle May, I have a 5-book Why Choose series called The Price of Silence. I am going to be releasing the box set on April 4th, so that's also something that you can look forward to. It has a totally new cover and vibe to it. It also has a novella in the back and all the bonus content. On the ebook, on the paperback, it's way too big to fit into all of that. I also have 2 demon novellas, which is The Sweetest Sacrifice and Nevermore. These are in the same world, but they're not connected, so feel free to read them at your leisure. There are 2 books in the Other World series. The first book that I wrote and then later published. I am not completing that series, so I don't recommend you getting into it. But if you want to see some of my earlier works, go ahead. It's really not up to the quality that I like it to, though. So I mostly promote everything else that I wrote after that. And then there are 2 books in Contract Bound, the Bloodbound series, and that will be it. It's a duology and it'll be done after the second book is released. I was also in an anthology, and A Chance Encounter is a short that I wrote for it that I will be republishing later this year. Now, Eden Emery. First book that I published under that name is The Ties That Bind Us. It is a sugar mama ex escort romance. It's really smutty, and it was honestly supposed to be just a treat for myself, and it ended up starting the pen name. I then have the Club Petal series, and I have Don't Stop Me, Don't Leave Me, and Don't Forget Me is coming out soon. After that, I have Don't Hate Me, and then I'm going to pause on this series for something else that I will announce later. But I may or may not go back to this series whenever I feel like I want to draft some of the extra tropes that I wanted to add in there, but the main characters in the main series will be done by book 4. Don't freak out if you heard that and thought that I wasn't going to do the Rockstar romance. I am. It's most likely going to be a duology, and I just didn't want it in the main series, but it will be in the same world. I then co-authored Two of a Kind with Bex, and that is one of the lightest books we ever wrote together, and so that's also available under Eden Emery. And we plan to do more later this year, so keep a lookout for that. Maybe if you check my Amazon, you'll see something very interesting there. And then I have all my Patreon novellas. So I have a FF Mafia that is called Wicked Corruption. I have Watch Me, which is coming out later this month. And then I have another one called The Tales of the Stolen Demon Brides, which will be a 3-book short novella series that is going to come later to Patreon, but that's not released yet or announced. So if you want to see it, go to my Patreon later. And then Love Me Harder is for free in my newsletter.